So in my little demo, we're going to look into the capabilities of the open source assets for use with data virtualization. So there's a bunch of very useful things like we discussed in our recent call. So in here, let's start with the create data source thing. So I'm going to create a new data source using a script. So of course, looking into my data, you're going to go to my folder. So there's my automation folder. As you see, there's not much in there yet. So in here, we can now just simply run that one. So it's going to expect a few parameters. Of course, you could execute those procedures from within TDV, but you could also execute it using a REST call from the external. So it's just give it a location where to store the file or the database connection. That's my new name. So I can use whatever name I want to. That's the database source type, the connection string, login, password, and database name. Just hit OK. So that's all I needed to do. So if I now refresh that folder, we now have our SQL Server database connected. I can also easily introspect things in here. So there's an introspect procedure as well. So the only thing I have to give it is the database that I want to introspect. If I want to a catalog and a schema, hit OK. Refresh. And we got all the table introspected that exist in that database. You could also do more complex kind of things like this one here, which is going to create a full list of views on the multiple layers. So if I run that procedure to generate views, by the way, if you want to get any information, you can generate views, search for that document. Here we go. Actually, let me start from scratch, start from here. I'm back. There's generate views, and there's the description of what you want to do with it. So it's going to contain all the input and output parameters in here and some samples. So let's run it. So if I run it, it wants to know for which data source do I want to do it, for which catalog, for which schema in the database. I could limit some patterns of tables. I could list my tables, or it's just going to go for all the tables. I can tell the system where to put the formatting layer, which is the lowest database layer, where to put the business layer, where to put the application layer, where to publish those tables as a new virtual database. We can add some prefixes here. So it's going to be YouTube underscore, oh, just one underscore. Set a few things. I want to override it. I want to get things from the database like foreign keys. I want to get debug information during run. So that's all we need to do. So we just run it, hitting OK. It's going to do its magic. I can follow it through here. So as we see, it's doing quite some work. Again, I enabled that debugging. That's why I get all the debugging information. So now going back in here again very quickly, you see I put it into that automation folder here. So that's the location. So in that automation folder here, in that automation, auto create, there's my application folders now. There's my formatting. There's my logical view. So it pulled all the tables that existed in that database and created certain views for it. So we can open it up in here. So there's my view. There's my SQL view in TDV. I can work with it. I could manually change it, of course, if I want to, but it's created for now. It also went into this element here, which is my demo database. So that one's automatically published as well. So again, if we go back to my create views, run it very shortly. Yes, yeah. You see, I also told it where to publish those databases. So I put it into the delete folder. So we got it exposed now already as a virtual database. So that single click created whatever we need to work with, of course. So very simple way to straightforward publish and create all those content. So one click to create a database. We could have skipped the introspection because that would not be really needed. I just did it to complete that one. Second step, run that generate view thing here to create all the views that we needed. And of course, you could change those scripts to your needs, make it work for you, create more and more complex things to automatically script and create those elements within your database. So straightforward, easy to go, easy to run.